Arkansas continues to see a lot of transfer portal movement. Number one, backup quarterback Trevor Jackson is entering the transfer portal. Hog fans, this is not a loss. This guy would have never seen the field in an Arkansas uniform. He could never beat out Grayson Wilson for the third spot and could definitely never beat out KJ Jackson. Obviously, Taylon Green was the starter this past year, but this is not a big one. I think he might have got some action in the first game against Alabama A&M, but obviously, with the season not going the way that Hog fans wanted, there was no way he was going to get in the majority of the games. Not only that, but safety Miguel Mitchell has entered the transfer portal as well. I know a lot of Hog fans that don't want to see any of these safe starters come back for the secondary, and honestly, I can't blame them. I think they might have 3 players on scholarship in the secondary at this point in time, but this is not a big loss at all. I would not be in the slightest bit surprised if he ends up at a group of 5 or at a lower tier Power 4 school. But what I really wanted to get into today is there's a bunch of players that are tied with Arkansas due to the new coaching staff that's came in. Most notably, as of now, it's Florida State. With David Johnson coming over, Arkansas is in play for a lot of these players right here. Number one, right off the back, is Jabril Rawls. He's a cornerback. He is, let's see here. He is rated as the number 1 cornerback in the transfer portal. So this would be a big-time get for the Hogs. Obviously, with David Johnson leaving, he was the recruiting coordinator. So he's not only just tied with the running backs, but as you'll see, there are a bunch of running backs that could possibly be in a Razorback uniform next year. So let's look at that. So let's see. They've got a safety. He was a starter and a contributor. And another linebacker. So a lot of defensive players, and Arkansas really needs to shore up their defense. So we're really fixing to see how much of a bag Hunter Yurchek has put together for Ryan Silverfield to go out and acquire some of these high-level defensive players, because Arkansas was so close this last year, but yet so far away with some of the decision-making. It just seems like there was not a lot of smart football players on the field on the defensive side. It always seemed to anything bad that could go wrong for the Hogs did go wrong for the Hogs. But you've got Jalen Lucas. He's a running back. Cam Davis. I think there's 3. So let's go down here. There's a lot of players for Florida State that are transferring out. So Razorback fans, just be thankful that y'all aren't having to go through what Auburn and Florida State is going through. What's going on at Auburn is just crazy. When Mike Golish got hired, his big bragging point, and his number 1 priority, he said, I'm going to retain this roster. That's my number 1 goal. And so far, it has just blown up in their flat faces. The word on the street is they offered to pay Cam Coleman. I'm going to pull him up real quick. They offered to pay Cam Coleman $2 million to be an Auburn Tiger next year. And so far, he's turned his back on him. Now, there's always the possibility that he could come back for Auburn, but I highly doubt that. And I'm not saying this guy is going to go to Arkansas. That's very, very unlikely because he's going to fetch a pretty penny wherever he goes. And I don't think Arkansas really needs. I'm not going to say they don't need a Cam Coleman, but so far they've got a lot of returning production in the receiving room. But yeah, I mean Golish it seems like everything's falling apart for him over there. I do know that the strategy that he used at USF is not going to work in the SEC. As Arkansas fans are aware of, you can't win a lot of football games with a bunch of 2- and 3-star talent. You've got to have some of those blue chip prospects mixed in there, or it's not going to go good for you. So this is another player, C.J. Baxter. He was recruited by David Johnson. He was the number 1 running back coming out of high school. So this would be another big-time get. This is a guy, because you're going to need another running back. You've got Braylon Russell coming back, and I believe Cam Settles, I believe, is his name. But you want at least 4 big-time pound-the-rock running backs on your football team. So let's look over here. Also, Arkansas landed JUCO lineman Antonio Sandal Bascom, I believe. This is another big-time acquisition for Ryan Silverfield. So far, he's done a great job with this roster. Now, there's still going to be some players that jump in the portal. You're not going to escape without, I would say, at least 15 all the way up to 20, 25, 30 players that hop in. But so far, he's done a wonderful job of kind of calming the storm, because at Auburn and at Florida State and at Mississippi State, you're seeing a ton of roster turnover. It is not looking pretty for those teams. But he came out of Coffeyville, Kansas Community College. They produce a lot of high-end talent. Bobby Petrino has signed a lot of players from there back at his first stint that were really successful for him. And I know what you're thinking. Well, he's coming from a JUCO. How good can he be? A lot of times, those kids that are in the JUCOs don't have the best situation in high school that prepares them to go into college, because you do have to do a little bit of work to get into college. It's not, it's not as easy as some people make it out to be. But a lot of times they might have some academic stuff going on, or they may just not be ready. But he immediately committed. I think he was offered yesterday or the day before, and it did not take him long at all to choose Arkansas. And he had a bunch of other Power 4 offers on the table, and more were coming in as well. So that's a really good get for Ryan Silverfield. And with him being a JUCO player, you don't have to wait for the portal to officially release. And I think that's true for like Division 2 and 3 players as well. I know they sent out some offers for those players. I'll make a separate video on them because there's been a lot of coverage on them. But really what I wanted to get into is possible prospects for Razorback fans to look at. So this is Florida State. We were just there. So this is Memphis. Excuse me. So Memphis is having a lot of turnover, obviously, with the coaching change. But there's a lot of these players on this team that are better than some of the players on Arkansas right now. Players that you could really come in, and some of them could push for a starting role, some of them could start, and some of them are quality depth pieces. But these two quarterbacks right here are the ones that I want you to look at, because Arkansas is in serious need of some backup quarterbacks. We know that KJ Jackson is more than likely going to be the guy, but he still needs somebody to come in and compete with him. You don't want somebody, just thinking that the job is theirs. I love KJ Jackson for the Razorbacks. I'm glad that he chose y'all to stick around and help rebuild your program. But you always want what's best for the team. And one of these two quarterbacks is going to be a Razorback. And then you've got some running backs. I believe one of these backup quarterbacks, I believe it's A.J. Hill, is the one that drug Ian Jaffrard 9 yards to pick up a first down when Arkansas was trying to get the ball back and win the game. Every Arkansas fan knows how that game goes, but that's all right. If you can't beat them, join them. And, I mean, if you can't beat them, hire them, and that's what y'all did. Y'all went out and got Ryan Silverfield, who I think is a really, really good coach. I think he's really being slept on just because there's not a lot of respect for Arkansas right now in the national media. Josh Pate, Paul Feinbaum, those guys aren't going to show you your program any love, but I know for a fact that Arkansas is doing something really special right now. I don't just cover Arkansas sports, but since I've gotten so many new subscribers and a bunch of wonderful comments about Arkansas, I've decided to cover it a little bit more. Plus, my father is a Razorback fan. I just don't live in the state of Arkansas. And but that brings me, if you like what I'm doing, it would really help me out if you subscribe and like the video. I really love hearing from y'all in the comment section, both good and bad. So if you come on here and you're upset with something that your team does, go ahead and comment it, and we'll have a conversation about it. It's not about, I try to reply to every single comment, both positive and negative. So let's look at LSU. So there's obviously Carius Kern. I made a video on him previously. And Paul Mabinga. Paul Mabinga still hasn't shown up on the transfer list for LSU yet. It's really kind of bizarre because usually they've done it, especially with it being Monday. 247 is usually really on top of it. But you've got a bunch of LSU players that have Arkansas ties. But number one is Carius Kern and then Paul Mabinga. But Kylan Billio, I can't pronounce his last name. There's been some rumors that Silverfield has extended. Obviously, you don't want to use the word tampering, but there's been some communication with some of these guys. But I wanted to look at the transfer portal as a whole. Let's look at Auburn. We'll go to the SEC real quick. I'm going to make a video on Auburn probably tomorrow. But so far, Auburn is losing all of their high-level guys. It's really crazy. This might be the story of the week. You've got the number one player in the portal right now, Cam Coleman, Amari Williams, Jay Crawford, Xavier Chaplin, Horatio Fields, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons. These were all highly recruited guys coming out of high school. Let's look at Jay Crawford, because Arkansas really needs a cornerback. I'm not saying Arkansas is going to land him, but he's the number 3 cornerback prospect. Basically a 5-star player in the transfer portal. An aggressive cover corner that has held his own in Georgia's highest classification. So he's a Georgia kid. So Sam Pittman was really good about recruiting Georgia. But anyway, I just wanted to give y'all an update and let y'all know that Ryan Silverfield so far has done a really good job steadying the ship. Let's look at Florida real quick because I want to compare, because they got a new coach as well. So they've got DJ Lagway, their 5-star quarterback, has hit the transfer portal. A couple of big-time wide receivers. Big-time defensive line. Defensive line is really hard to come by. So there's going to be some bidding wars over these guys. So they've got 17 in the portal so far. So let's look at Arkansas. So far, 4 players. So if some of y'all had doubts about Ryan Silverfield, I'd say a really good indication that this might just work out for Arkansas fans is the fact that he's doing a phenomenal job on your roster, especially with bringing in guys like Crowley. I plan on redoing the video because that was my first video, and I really didn't like a lot about it, if that's something you're interested in. But he's done a really good job. Tavion Wallace is probably Texas A&M bound. Shaq McCroy, he did not fit the offensive scheme that they're trying to run. And Keyshawn Davila, and obviously Miguel Mitchell and Trevor Jackson. But anyway, that's all I got. Guys, I love hearing from you. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe. That's all I got. Thanks. Bye.